fairly compelling whodunit, not compelling enough to stand up for a whole half season, but for a single episode, it's exactly the kind of stuff that this show needs.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, I thought also when Daryl said, "I know who did it," what was your first thought then?
I had seen him give the meaningful look to the girl carrying the spear gun. So I wasn't sure whether she was acting alone because, you know the story. I still knew the story of Oceanside, the fact that these women had all their men killed and had to go run off. Like, I saw him give that a significant glance when he handled her spear gun, and I'm like, okay. So I thought it was going to be her. I was shocked that it was Cindy and the entire Oceanside Amazon tribe, but I thought like it made perfect sense, and I actually really liked how Daryl and Maggie left it. I thought that was
a powerful
sequence.
moment.
Yeah.
Well, so I thought at that moment that it was Dwight because I wasn't paying close enough attention to the actual implement, and I just thought the only person who shoots arrows is Dwight.
Oh, you thought they're going to bring Dwight back? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking I had figured it out, and so then when it was revealed that it was the Oceansiders, I thought, oh, that's so great because I didn't expect it, and it totally makes sense because of what happened to their men. And they really brought that home in a way that felt weighty when Cindy started describing. I mean, she's like, she shot my brother right here, and there's the woman who did it, Arat, and that he was 11 years old, and that scene was really powerful because I'm the pacifist who hopes that Rick can make all this work and realize that there's gray areas and that people can be redeemed. And, that maybe, she said, Simon would have killed me too. And then Cindy goes, you asked me to beg for his life. He was crying and you smiled. He was 11 years old. I told you I loved him. And what did you say? And I love that she asked that because she wants to force Arat to acknowledge that she remembers that exact moment. And so she eventually says no exceptions, which I guess is what Negan said right before he killed.
Right. That sealed her fate with Maggie. Because, it's one thing to be under the spell of a cult leader, but like, it's clear that some of these people really embrace this as a lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I think Arat is trying to turn around, but she was a sadistic person at one point.
Sometimes you can't, sometimes that's the way justice works. Like, you can be a different person. You can maybe be redeemed. You can have gotten, there's been recent examples of people who thought they probably got 30, 40 years down the line past a heinous crime, and then it comes back, and what are you going to do? Pretend like it didn't? So I thought that was good. And also I thought this Oceansiders were pretty sympathetic because they weren't like advocating like Maggie and Daryl for a widespread indiscriminate pogrom against the saviors, right? It's just like, no, these people that were involved, that we saw in our own eyes in this massacre, they need to experience some post-apocalyptic street justice. And
yeah, and I think they even said these are the last one. This is the last one.
Exactly.
So that's really interesting because that actually, if Daryl and Maggie had decided, okay, fine, we're going to literally turn our backs on this, pretend we didn't see it, then that could have ended it right there. No more saviors disappear. But then there's another little twist at the end where Maggie says, she seemed kind of shocked and appalled, actually, that when Cindy said, what you did with Gregory.
Yeah, you inspired
us to do this. But then then they inspired me, so let's go get Negan. Yeah, and she goes, let's go see Negan.
Yeah, they showed me the way. I thought that was pretty ominous. And I with you, like when the conversation was tracking, I'm like, oh, this is going to be the thing where this is Maggie's moment to realize that, oh God, what have I become?
What have I wrought?
But no, she's like, I mean, there was, I think, maybe that regret that like there's it's because it's like it's the same thing with like Arya on Game of Thrones. It's always sad as much as you like seeing the little murderous badass do murderous badass things. It's always sad to see a young person's heart that dark, and the same thing with Cindy, but. It's not that she's unrighteous or that these people didn't do things that deserve death. So
no, in that moment, I'm right there with Maggie and Daryl.
Yeah.
As much of a pacifist as I am, I'm like, fuck you. You smiled when you killed an 11-year-old. Die. And then now that I've had a few hours after seeing the episode, there is a little part of me that's like, well, maybe this is the exact kind of situation that would be the perfect way to unite these groups by forgiving something like this. I know some of you listeners are like, fuck you, Jason, but I don't know. I mean, I don't blame Maggie and Daryl for doing what they did. Mm-hmm. What's your number 2?
Jadis with her helicopter, A or B. Fuck this plot. I hate Jadis was stupid from the get-go. I cannot believe they conceived such a stupid plot and a stupid civilization, a stupid culture. And then I thought that they realized, oh, well, that's dumb.
That's the other twist. It looks like they're
let's redeem Jadis and make her an interesting person to pair her off with another asshole who I thought was completely irredeemable, Gabriel. And then, I just no, I'm not going to engage with this. I don't give a shit. If Heath comes back with the PPP key that has A and B on both sides. I don't care. I don't care if this is related to Terminus. Fuck you. You cannot make me care about this plot.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't either. I don't see any way that this can resolve that's going to be cool.
No.
Maybe we'll be surprised. I'm open to that possibility, but it seems pretty stupid.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm always open, but I'm not they want you to be get on Reddit and be like, oh,
what is going on here?
Just tie in.
What's an A?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because it's probably going to suck. Anything that takes longer than an episode to resolve is probably going to suck. And no, Jadis is back to being sub Commander Romulan Jadis, and I don't care.
Well, she does seem conflicted, but then when she smacks him in the head, it didn't take very long for her to get to that.
No, I feel like all of her conflictedness was just an act for gay. That's the thing. The interesting character I thought she was becoming snapped back in the flitted out of existence, and now she's back to I thought you were a bee. What?
I think she has some feelings for him, but she's like, just help me kidnap this one person, and it'll all be great, and we can move to this new place. The whole thing felt. Actually, I just realized this, but it seems like something out of Lost.
Another show that I have a checkered past with.
Yes, me too. Yeah. Anyway, okay. My number 2 is solutions. So, like I mentioned, I think the show right now is just the struggle to deal with the aftermath of what Negan did and Simon too. And there's all this fear and distrust. And it does fit the arc of The Walking Dead. The show has always been about fear of strangers and trying to get along and deciding whether to accept new people or to just protect your own, and it's always about the show encourages an argument between the Shanes of the world and the Ricks of the world. And the Shanes are usually right, I feel like, on this show. And at this point, it seems like the Shanes are right too. That, well, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to tell.
I feel like Shanes are right in the short term. You need, it's like in a society. If you're in an existential war, you want Shane as your leader. If you're in a period of peace and rebuilding and growth, you want a Rick as a leader.
Yeah, but how do you get from the war to the peace, though? That's the thing. I don't think a Shane can take you there.
Yeah, I always went that's was always a problem in Rome, right? The whole idea of the citizen, it's like give this guy, unlimited executive power because we're afraid of this threat, and oh wow, he's not giving it back. Other than Cincinnatus, the patron saint of my hometown, that never really worked out. So, you have to have that's the thing, that this is a very interesting plot to explore. How do you turn that corner? How do you, when you don't have the systems in place and the political processes and the trials and where civilization can say these people were wrong, these people were right, we're going to move on. What happens if you don't have those things? Those are all very interesting questions.
And they don't need to develop that. There's a couple of solutions that they can try that will just skirt all of that. They can say, all right, you guys, all you saviors, get the fuck out of here. Go somewhere else. If we ever see you again, we'll kill you. That would be one thing to try. Or they could say, they could just kill them all. That's kind of what Carol and Rick were saying they felt like doing sometimes.
Probably effective too.
If they did that, I would think they would want to get just a couple of people to do it and not have it be as much as possible weighing on everyone's shoulders for the rest of their lives. You know, because I think if I was a part of that and I knew that happened, I don't know. I mean, could you just ignore it and pretend it never happened?
You get every citizen of the 3 states, Hilltop, Alexandria, and the Kingdom, right? You give them all rifles. Half of them at Oceanside. Half of them have blanks. Half of them have real rounds. You get an old fashioned firing squad. Everybody pulls the trigger, and everyone's got plausible deniability. Boom, done.
That's still gonna leave a mark on your soul.
Nah, because my bullet, I shot a blank. I don't know about you, Jason, but I got no blood guilt.
I'm sure I did.
No blood guilt in these hands. It's those other assholes.
Singing a nice song to myself. It was fine. It was a nice day. La la la. Well, the other thing that you could try is, and I really don't know a lot about this, but there's the whole Truth and Reconciliation Commission that in South Africa for apartheid. So Wikipedia says the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was a court-like restorative justice body assembled in South Africa after the end of apartheid. Witnesses who were identified as victims of gross human rights violations were invited to give statements about their experiences, and some were selected for public hearings. Perpetrators of violence could also give testimony and request amnesty from both civil and criminal prosecution. The TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the first of the 1,003 held internationally to stage public hearings, was seen by many as a crucial component of the transition to full and free democracy in South Africa. Despite some flaws, it's generally, although not universally, thought to have been successful. So something like that, if they're going to go forward and try to keep everybody integrated, seems to me essential. To try and just clear the air and get everybody to talk about what they did with, you know, the possibility of either forgiveness or at least to know what they need to do to be forgiven would be good, rather than have it be all under the surface.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's something I think our country could benefit from. Like, when you talk about, like, what I mean, I think one of the core problems politically is that we've had a lot of shit go down in this country that we've just kind of like swept under the rug and say, you know, from Reconstruction that the North kind of got bored with after 10 years and let go really bad, to like how we treated the native population of this country. Like, I feel like one of the reasons that we have so much turmoil is that we have done a lot of bad things and we just want to be like, well, that was in the past, and but
unresolved.
But like, you know, like when you stop doing something wrong, like you stop beating someone up, like you've held someone down, you've beaten them up, and you just stop. Like, that's not justice. There hasn't been any reconciliation. There hasn't been any restoration. And I feel like until we have that reckoning, and as a society kind of like really, you know, it doesn't mean you have to hate the country. It doesn't mean, you know, you just have to understand that like mistakes were made and people paid terrible prices and they've essentially been, you know, silenced. Like, it's even controversial to teach that in schools. And like until we come around to that, we're going to always have these problems. And I feel like you're right on. It's the same with The Walking Dead, and I hope they're smart enough to have something that kind of process, because it would be, imagine like big hearings that are distributed in transcript form to all of the settlements, where people like the Oceanside girl Cindy can talk about what the Saviors did to them, and Maggie can talk about what the Saviors did and how Herschel's not going to. Everyone can tell their story, and the Saviors can hear it, and the people that lived under the civilians in the Saviors population can hear it, because who knows what propaganda they were fed. Like, get it all out into the open.
And the point too, as I read, is to have the perpetrators be able to talk openly about what they did, and this is all meant to be like, let's work through this and get past it.
Right. Yeah.
And because you need, in order to go forward as a group, you really need to be able to trust each other. Yes. And it's not easy to do that after something like this, to build trust.
Right.
You need some kind of an open reconciliation.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else to say? We went through all of our points. I have a couple of just random notes. You got anything else?
I want to shout out to the credit sequence.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Dude,
forgot.
I thought I was immediately taken with how cool the credit sequence was. I love the themes of like things starting to restart, like regrow, like things that were like decaying to death turning into like lush green things. But there's also just a little bit of darkness in there, like the ruined barn that gets rebuilt, and then the final step to completion is the noose. Like that's pretty cool, and it's exactly the right tone for this show. And I think it's cool.
Yeah, and I love it too. And I also like that the focus is around the zombie at the end, because I think the show has forgotten that zombies are cool.
Yeah.
And I think this season they're actually doing a better job at filming them. And I agreed with you about the Cindy sequence being kind of typical, but the very first sequence where the zombies were eating Justin, that was cool. And I don't know, they're just like paying a little more attention to their movement or something and making it feel more like a George Romero zombie movie. I mean, I guess the one criticism I always wonder is if zombies are carnivorous and they're sitting there eating someone, then when that person just get eaten up, and in this little sequence we see that they just kind of get bored, like they're having an appetizer or something. But whatever, it looked cool. I like that.
No, I think you're right. There was a couple like I thought the piece that robbed Aaron of his arm last episode was really good because it made sense. Like, you know, they're doing this big physical task, a bit herd was occurring, some of these people are inexperienced and panicky, and I mean shit like that happens on work sites anyway. You throw zombies into them, but that felt like a well-engineered set piece.
Or when they were first in DC in the city, maybe not so much the whole thing with the big cart or whatever inside the museum, but along the city streets. It just was total Day of the Dead coolness.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings about the wagon over the glass. Like like that's almost as a cool set piece, but like I just feel like any person with their head up their ass would be like, you know what, let's go do some reinforcement. We don't have to get this thing back today.
Yeah.
You know, because
or find a different one somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Or do we need the wagon too? Like, can we get someone to draw detailed pictures of how this is constructed and maybe just bring the plow back? Like, yeah, but that's the thing. It's tough. It's tough to every week try to come up with one of these things.
Absolutely.
And I kind of think that maybe they should just stop and try to make really good ones every, like 2 or 3 times a season. They're going to drop your jaw and then impress people with your dialogue and characters, you know?
I know. I mean, I'm sure they're afraid to do that. And maybe at this point, after 9 seasons in, if they tried it, people would be like, what the fuck?
Right. They've ran off the people who are like, would like, you know, really applaud the character and dialogue. So maybe.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think, if this show was like other shows that are of a little bit higher caliber, then they would be doing that. And yes, it would have a bigger impact if they didn't happen so often every week. I'm stoked about this one. It is Fallout 76, which is a new game that's coming out in November. And if you know the Fallout series, I actually have not played the Fallout games, but it's always been one that I've paid attention to. I saw a buddy of mine play one for a while and it looked so cool. If you don't know, it's basically this kind of retro futuristic decaying post-apocalyptic post-nuclear world with radioactive mutants and things like that. And they pay a lot of attention to the environment. So there's a lot of decay and there's, you know, of course, like broken down landmarks and things that, you know, or buildings and crash planes. And they have a lot of really good attention to detail and style too. The game really has a lot of style and you get wrapped up in the story of it and the backstory that's present in the environment. And it's about discovering the environment of the Holocaust and everything like that. It's got dark humor. It's got a lot of fighting. There's a lot of mutants, monsters, and crazy people and things like that. These games have been around for 20 years now, and this one coming up, Fallout 76, is, well, here's the copy that the game studio gave me. Bethesda Game Studios, the award-winning creators of Skyrim and Fallout 4, welcome you to Fallout 76, the online prequel where every surviving human is a real person. Work together to survive, or not. So that's actually a new aspect to the game. It's kind of like a massive multiplayer game. So everyone you see online that's a human is another person playing. And I know some people were kind of nervous about that because typically Fallout is a single player game and it's story centered. But I've watched a couple of reviews from people who got early access and they're liking it a lot. So it looks like it turned out great. They go on, under the threat of nuclear annihilation, you'll experience the largest, most dynamic world ever created in the legendary Fallout universe. Reclamation Day 2102, 25 years after the bombs fall, you and your fellow vault dwellers, chosen from the nation's best and brightest, emerge into post-nuclear America. Play solo or join together as you explore, quest, build, and triumph against the wasteland's greatest threats. So Fallout 76 is going to be available worldwide on Wednesday, November 14th. You can pre-order now at participating retailers, and you can play the beta first on Xbox One. I think the Xbox One actually comes out, well, probably today when you're hearing this. And I'm going to put the Fallout 76 trailer in the show notes for you guys. They actually didn't even ask me to do that, but it's really cool, and I think you'll get a better idea of it. So if you're curious, I'll put a link in. You can check that out. Are you aware of these games at all?
Yeah, no, when I was growing up, I don't know, I might be older than, I'm like 42, and I grew up with the Commodore 64 playing Wasteland, and I feel like the Fallout is like the spiritual successor to that game. Unfortunately,
sounds like it.
Unfortunately, as my lifestyle as a jet-setting podcaster prevents me from playing as many video games as I'd like. So I was the same way. Like I was intrigued by the idea of it's now kind of an MMO RPG, and also like I did play like I do have a gaming group, and I do see that like whenever there's a new Fallout, I lose a lot of those people for weeks at a time. So must be doing a lot of things right over there.
Totally.
Obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow-moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Deadcast news update.
Yeah, I don't have time for games either, but I just every once in a while I'll make time for one, and I just did with this Spider-Man game. Have you seen anything on that?
Yeah, Jim 100%ed it, and then
it's so good.
And he gave it to me. I've had it for like 2 weeks, and I still haven't played it because I'm actually. This is how far behind I am. I've almost beat Bloodborne, which came out in 2015.
That's amazing, man. I played the first couple hours of that, and it was hard.
It's brutal, and I started playing it in February, and I've just kind of like made progress here and there as I've been able to. But I'm like in the last little bit of the game, and it's been a lot of fun. But yeah,
that's cool.
Spider-Man's next on my list.
I can't wait for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, shit. That's the thing. Me and Jim said we'd play that together too. So like, man,
podcast on it.
Yeah, well, or do a Twitch stream.
All right. Have you done any of those?
We did. Yeah, we did a lot with Twitch this year. We kind of just recently took a step back from it because we wanted to concentrate on other things. But it was a lot of fun. We did.
Yeah, I might try that.
Played a lot of games. Did a lot of stuff.
All right, let's get into the news. So if you're coming to Walker Stalk Atlanta, or even if you're just in the area, it's next weekend. Meetup Saturday, October 27th at 6 p.m. at the Latitudes Bar in the Omni Hotel at CNN Center. So be awesome to see a bunch of you guys out there. I know when Jim and Aaron were there, we had like 3 times the crowd.
Well, we were banned from participating in the Walker Stalk. No, that's not true. We were too negative. We had too many riots that we started.
There's a panel.
That was a lot of fun.
There's a panel on Sunday at this one with. It's got Bernthal, Sarah Wayne Callies, Irony Singleton, Lori Holden.
Oh, wow. Cool. Blast from the past.
Yeah, man. All right, yeah, you guys are totally invited to come to that anytime and host panels.
I would, if I had more time, I'd take it because it was always a good time. It was always a good time.
Yeah.
And I think the Walking Dead fandom is really cool and unique, too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really fun. Okay, so next, Entertainment Weekly interviewed Angela Kang. I picked out the question. I thought Aaron would be most interested in. They asked, so what is an A? What is a B? And what can you tell us about Anne knocking out Gabriel to presumably deliver him to these mystery folks with the helicopter? She said, I don't think anyone's going to care about this. I'm just kidding. She said,
a rare moment of honesty in Hollywood.
She said, so here's what I'll say about an A and a B. She has originally thought Gabriel was a B. The A and B has something to do with the thing that she was involved in, which was human trading. And it was a way to differentiate between classes of people. She thought that Gabriel was a B. She knew that Rick and Negan were A's, but she now thinks that Gabriel is also an A. Yeah, that we kind of got that. She says, so I'll just say that because I think anything more, I might get in trouble.
Okay. So for anyone who was comatose in the episode, she described what we observed with our eyeballs and our ear holes.
Exactly what we saw.
Well done.
Absolutely no extra level of insight, perhaps even less.
Can we make a New Year's resolution in 2019? All of us content producers and television critics, can we just stop asking showrunners and stars about future events? Because they're always going to have the same horseshit grin on their face, and they're all going to talk around in circles. They're all going to be like, let's just stop. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Let's stop.
When I'm on a panel and it comes to the audience Q&A time, and somebody asks what's going to happen in an episode, which they always do.
Do you boo and shout them down?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the actors sit there and sort of, they're like, oh God, I don't know what to say. And they, like you said, they try to, be nice. And I always think, why don't you just say, I can't talk about that. And that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that you're going to have to watch. I mean, sometimes they do, but rarely. They always think they have to come up with something interesting to say to that.
Although
if I was on the show, I'd just be like, I can't tell you that.
It is wild that AMC Studios and marketing is essentially spoiling their own season. Like,
I know.
It's so funny.
I have two. I have two suspicions why they did that. Mostly, I think it was because it was leaking anyway, and they wanted to kind of take control of it,
Yeah.
But I also feel like they were afraid that if they surprised everyone with it, that people wouldn't have time to process and they would just leave the show.
Mm.
And now they're giving them time to think it over and deal with it, and maybe they'll keep more viewers this way.
It's funny because I had a slightly opposite take, which is essentially they know they're losing audience in droves, so they're kind of like, 6 more episodes of Rick, come on, you want to see that, right?
Yeah, that could be too.
A little Carnival Barker action going on. Come see the bearded lady and a fat man eat a pie and shave the beard. Like, it's like, hey, I don't know what's in that tent. I pay good money to find out, and you're just going to spoil it for me?
I'm not going in.
That's right.
Forget it. All right. Next, Variety reported that Scott Wilson's memorial ceremony was last Saturday at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills. The cast members Denai Guerrera, Andrew Lincoln, Sarah Wayne Callies, and Greg Nicotero spoke at it, along with director Ernest Dickerson. Here's a few little tidbits of what they said. Denai Guerrera said, Scott made me feel like part of the family as soon as I met him. He also taught me how to smoke a cigar. Lincoln said Wilson was particularly adept at dry humor about himself, asking Lincoln during a long break if he knew who was the first person to, quote, flip the bird in a movie. Lincoln said Robert Mitchum, and Wilson said, no, it was me.
Huh.
Which I thought was kind of cute. Callies read the Edna St. Vincent Millay poem, Thou Famished Grave. Nicotero led a toast at the reception, and the events program included a quote from Wilson's Herschel Green, quote, you step outside, you risk your life. You take a drink of water, you risk your life. And nowadays you breathe, you risk your life. Every moment now, you don't have a choice. The only thing you can choose is what you're risking it for. So I thought that was nice.
Seemed like a nice guy. I got to meet him at the first or second Atlanta Walker Stalker, and he was very gracious, like every other star from the show I've ever met, and was sad. I actually did see that. My wife told me when he died, she was on the Twitter or something. She's like, "Oh my God, Scott Wilson just died." So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's sad. Okay, next. Since Angela Kang took over Walking Dead, Daryl's been talking a lot more. I'm sure you noticed that this season.
Yeah, not and as a real human, not as a wild feral raccoon.
Yeah. And this guy on Reddit, DA One Ton the Great, mapped out how much Daryl has spoken on the show since its start. I don't know how he did this, but he has this chart. So season 1, there's he has the number of episodes or number of words spoken by Daryl per season, but there's also average per episode. So season 1 was 267. 2 was, I can't read this, it's a little blurry, but 185, I think. Season 3, 135. Season 4 was 238. Season 5, 94. Season 6, 64 or something. Season 7 was like 50. And season 8 was like 65. So It really went down in later seasons. Why do you think they did that?
I don't know. Like, because they couldn't figure out a treadmill to put him on.
Yeah.
My theory is with Daryl was that he's like asexual, for whatever reason. Like whether he's just like asexual the way Todd is on BoJack Horseman, or he's like asexual because he was traumatized by early childhood abuse. Like I just felt like that was kind of, him and Beth never really felt romantic. It felt more of like a, like a loving relationship that in the same way that like him and Carol never really had chemistry. So I just always, and the way Aaron and his boyfriend, like I don't think he's gay. I don't think he's straight. I just think he's asexual, and they don't. Yeah. I
think maybe Carol and Beth both would have liked if he wasn't like that. I got that feeling.
I think Carol was openly flirting with him in the early goings, and I think there's that one episode that I really liked where they kept on seeing the smoke in Atlanta. That like I think she realized what was the score with him, and then like because there was also a little weird moment where she was talking to him about like the Ezekiel stuff. I thought like, oh my god, are they going to go back to this? Like they're going to talk about this sexual tension that they had in the early goings, but it was it didn't go that way. But yeah, I'm not sure because he was a fan favorite and they just kind of forgot about him for 3 years. It felt like they gave him that like Easy Street plot where he got abducted by the Saviors, but I felt like that was more of a miss than anything.
Yeah, just torturing him all season.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Daryl's never been my favorite character. I'm not saying I don't like him as a character, but he's just never been as much of a favorite of mine as he is everybody else's. But I'll say these last 3 episodes, having him have more of a part and speak more. I mean, I read all the news that, I don't know if it's true, but they're paying him a shitload of money to take over as lead after Andrew Lincoln leaves. And I'm like, oh, great. How's that going to be?
He's going to have 1,000 words next season. He's going to recite Shakespeare's sonnets.
But I'm liking it so far. I mean, I think it's fine. It's fine.
Hey, man, cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Yeah, he's just going to start quoting Shakespeare.
Long, hour-long soliloquies.
That's right. To be or not to be, bullshit.
This week's episode will be 90 minutes and starring only Norman Reedus.
That would be great.
Okay, next, Coleman Domingo, who plays Strand on Fear the Walking Dead, is developing a series for AMC called In the Middle of the Street, based on his stage play that he wrote and I think directed called Dot. The play centers around a West Philadelphia middle-class family. It premiered off-Broadway in New York, and he says it's a dark comedy. It's about how the matriarch, her filter is gone, and you find out some secrets in the family. It re-examines what family is over many, many seasons, hopefully. And then finally, I guess they just blasted it out on AMC exactly how many episodes Rick Grimes has left on The Walking Dead, but I feel like I shouldn't even say it just in case there's a few people out there who don't know. But if you don't know and you want to know, just like go online. You probably don't even need to search for it. You just fire up your browser and it'll just say it right there.
I think you just go to The Walking Dead's official Twitter.
And it'll be right there. Let's just say it's coming up pretty quick. Get ready. All right, that is it for the news. Let's move on to listener moans, groans, and grunts. So usually we just take turns reading these. Cool?
Yeah, you want to start?
Okay. Karen, she says, wow, I just finished the episode and my jaw is still on the floor. I love how much ground it covered. It started off beautifully with light and hope. I smiled all throughout Rick, Michonne, and Judith's family fun day. Then things got so dark in all aspects of the term. I loved Anne. She's back to Jadis, plus Carol and Rick's night scenes, bringing back horror elements to the show. But after the episode concluded, I went, I don't know how I feel about the show's cynical turn with regards to Maggie and Daryl just walking away from Arat and the Oceansiders. I can't explain why I wanted Cindy to spare Arat, but I like that the show has put me in that gray space, the look both ways sign, that it acknowledges how every action from Savior's raid of Oceanside to Gregory's hanging has its consequences. Great episode.
Yeah, it's another. I like Karen's point there because something we didn't really talk about is that the real flaw of the letting Oceansiders settle their hash is, as we've seen so many times in human history, that eye for eye will eventually lead everyone blind because everyone will always have the score that they need to settle, and there's got to be a nonviolent way to address those things and get justice and restitution, or
firing squad, with
50% 50 match of bullet and blanks.
Those are the two solutions.
Carrie Masao Abels, top 5 The Walking Dead for this week. Sure, you'll address them all. Jerry, Judith, Justin, Jadis, and finally Justice. Best episode in a long time. She hit us with the 5 J's.
Yeah, I think we covered them all. Yeah,
I think so too. And I'll agree. These 3 episodes are probably the best Walking Dead episodes in 3-4 years easy.
Woohoo! Rick Montalvan says, no exceptions is what Negan said before killing Glenn. Wrong time for Maggie to hear that. Also, now we know why Jadis wanted a certain number of men from her deal with Negan. Trade bait. Sneaky girl. So I guess that was a callback to something before. I don't remember.
It wasn't just her wanting to draw Rick naked, really? She wanted to trade some A-Train action?
A little of both.
Greg Taylor. Rick telling Gabriel to keep an eye on her. Insensitive or what? Well, he has the one eye. He can keep an eye on her. So
Yeah, I think that was encouraging. Like, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I only have one good eye, by the way.
Do you really? I
Pretty
did not
much.
know that.
I have a lazy eye. Evan Brookman says, I'm okay with Maggie and Daryl walking away and letting the Oceansiders get their pound of flesh, but to justify by saying Maggie showed them the way by hanging Gregory is BS. Maggie killed Gregory for an attempt on her life in the present. The killing of the Saviors now, post-treaty, isn't the same action.
Yeah, it's
still getting revenge on people who wronged you.
But I mean, like she said, like that's the thing. Like I think, man, bad cases make for bad law, and Gregory is he needed to die. Like she said in this episode, he got chance after chance after chance, and I don't like that's the tension now. Like where, how many chances do you give people for what?
Mm-hmm.
And as society gets bigger, justice becomes a lot more, assembly line, and there's not a lot of like, I don't know if you're listening to Serial season 3, but
no, I intend to, but I haven't yet.
It's good because it really shows you how like that like this one size fits all or mandatory, like it just doesn't really fit. And some crimes like crimes around drugs and addiction that it's almost cruel to put people on some kind of schedule to be like, well, yeah, you did this, now you got to be good and fly on the straight and narrow. So like seeing them struggle about like, well, obviously one step out of line and you're dead. Like that's a Star Trek The Next Generation plot, oh shit, Wesley landed on the roses. Let's kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But guy
or ate someone's tomato or something.
Or ate someone's tomato and he just didn't know that that's against the law. Like, but you also have to have, you can't let guys like Gregory get off with a slap on the wrist every single time.
Yeah. And it's good that, the show is, if you're having an argument or debate about something like this, I think that's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah. Elizabeth Nikolievich, there is no treaty, just graciousness, and it's running out.
That was a response to that last one. Cheryl Rainey Fox says, wow, Maggie and Daryl just walked away. It shows the contradiction to all people are valued. It was a shock to me that they are kind of on the dark side. I couldn't be that person. I could.
Yeah, like I said, that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's understandable to want vengeance for your murdered loved ones. But it's one of those things where if that's the standard of justice, it's not any standard at all because, like,
Right.
to save my son's life, who wouldn't I murder? But it's like the ultimate trolley problem, except for the one person you don't care about any of the assholes on the trolley. So
Right. You got to have, if you're going to be a leader,
Yeah.
you need to have a broader view. And I think with Maggie, that moment that she saw Glenn's head get bashed in, it changed her forever. And that's what she's operating from right
that's
there.
such a, not just like that he died, but just a pointless, cruel way that he died. That'd be a lot to get over. That'd be a lot to get over.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. And I can totally understand why she'd be acting the way she is. I just think that
it's just like the blacksmith, like the blacksmith and her and his wife. Like they're very, I think, reasonable characters. Like, hey, we trusted you, and you got our son killed. Like that's one of the reasons that their characters were so great because they didn't try to shy away from like what a raw deal, and like they're just supposed to sit and let it happen.
Right? Yeah. And the thing is, you were so right that Rick keeping Negan alive, and he even I think told Negan this was, I don't know if that was part of the speech that he gave Negan when he told him he was going to be in a prison. But anyways, that act is really helping him run this whole thing. And now Maggie is going to mess all that up. But I can totally understand if, I saw what she saw, I might be doing the same thing.
Stephen Fletcher, is this the first time Jerry's appeared in an episode that King Ezekiel's not in? That really stood out to me for some reason. Jerry's moving on up in the world.
It might be.
Yeah, I mean he's breaking out of the shadow of King Ezekiel. Good for you, Jerry.
I support that. Yeah, he's cool. Kristen Crabtree says, loved Family Fun Day, but these are the scenes that make me think he's a goner. Yeah, absolutely.
Susan Kolskar, what was with the blood that Michonne tried to hide? Is Judith's cough related to that?
Do you know what she's talking about?
I have no idea.
Me neither. I know about the cough because I caught that Rick said that's why they had Family Fun Day that's what it would take to convince Judith to go see Sadiq about her cough.
Yeah. Did she get I'm trying to, I honestly, I have no idea what that's going to be.
Sorry, Susie, you have to write it and clue us in. Daniel Dement Juice said Glenn would be very disappointed in Maggie. So would her father. I'm having a hard time with her new personality. Same with Daryl. He's been very loyal to Rick for so long. The issues between them feel forced. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Yeah, I think this is totally along with Daryl's character. I really do. Maggie, I mean, like I said, maybe pre-Glenn, she would have been different. But after that event,
that's the thing,
scarred her.
I don't know. Like I said, just imagine what he would do if Maggie was beat to death in front of him.
Yeah,
killing the child, his unborn child. Like I don't know. If she was on the other foot, I don't know that Glenn acts much better.
He might want to see something different for her, but I think he would try to support her in whatever she did.
Yeah.
William
Schnargle, I don't think for 1 second Maggie or Glenn will kill Negan. I mean, why bother having him on the season only to have him in it for all of 4 minutes just to kill him off? It's not happening. However, it's kind of cool to see Rick being the peacekeeper and Sweet Farmer's daughter Maggie being a bit heartless. I don't think Glenn would like this new version. So my thought is, I think that is a failure of the show that you're not kind of debating, because like the best shows I think manage to make you feel like anything can happen even when you know nothing. Like, I super afraid for Walter White in season 3 of Breaking Bad, even though
that's right where I went.
Know.
Yes, yeah,
right. You intellectually know it's,
but he's right. I'm not afraid for Negan at all.
Yeah, and I think that's just because they have done a poor job of building that particular tension and telling that story.
I mean, it could increase. It could increase.
Yeah.
But as of this moment, I'm not. Yeah, I feel like I feel like they're grooming Negan to actually have a complete redemption. So we have one call from Steve Brown. Where is it? Here it is.
Hi, Walking Dead cast. It's Steve, and just wanted to share a couple quick things about warning signs. I really love what this season is doing because we're getting a very clear line that we're going to have one camp with the every life counts now kind of theme, and then the other camp of, well, if they deserve to be killed, or if we believe they deserve to be killed, or if someone believes they deserve to be killed, that they can be allowed to be executed, which it's going to be interesting going forward to see how that works out, and kind of if they find a way to merge those sides, those two, or what. I really thought it was interesting that the Oceansiders waited a year and a half to take their revenge. Maybe they were just looking for targets of opportunity, or it just seems a little strange or a little on the nose, I guess, that they did it then. But I'm okay with it, because they needed to start the season somewhere. And finally, I don't remember if it was y'all or another podcast that mentioned how was Anne able to do the portraits of Herschel and Glenn when she had never met them. And if you remember, when she was doing the sketch for Father Gabriel, he was describing the woman to her. So I just think that she's that kind of sketch artist, to where people can describe someone to her and she can then draw them or paint them. So can't wait to hear what you guys say. Have a good day.
I mean, if it was me trying to describe somebody, I think I'd be really bad at that, and I would get a picture that looked absolutely nothing like whoever it was.
No, Jadis as the post-apocalyptic police sketch artist.
Yeah. Anyway, well, what you said about Cindy, I think the point of the episode was that they didn't feel like they could do that until Maggie killed Gregory. So that's what spurred them on. That was it.
Mm-hmm. That's what set them off their leash.
Yep. All right, that's our show, episode 330. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you for coming on, man. That was really fun, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't know how long your average podcast is, but I feel like I maybe overstayed my welcome. I hope people haven't got bored and shut up.
Not at all, dude. Not at all. This is about normal. Maybe it's a little like 45 minutes over, but pretty close.
Okay, so twice as long as your normal one. Yeah, sure.
Why don't you let us know what you're doing right now and how people can find you?
So we cover a lot of stuff at Bald Move. Right now we're doing The Deuce, David Simon's follow-up to a lot of his great shows, including The Wire. We're also doing, speaking of following up, Matthew Weiner's The Romanovs.
Ooh, how's that going?
I really like it. I think Jim's kind of lukewarm, and the critical reaction has kind of been like, what is this? Because it's like this anthology series of 90-minute episodes about people who may or may not be Romanovs, descendants of the murdered Romanov house in Russia. But yeah,
how far into that are they?
3 episodes.
I didn't even know it started. I got to check that out.
Yeah, and then the other thing I'm excited about is I wrote a book this year about religions of Game of Thrones, and it's going to be released November 1st. There's a couple things you can do if you want to check it out. I co-wrote this with a religious scholar, and we tried to blend it, like good information, well researched, but also have fun and be funny, be humorous. And you can go on Amazon or pre-order it now if you search for Gods of Thrones Bald Move. You can also go and look at our Kickstarter that we completed to kind of raise the funds to publish it at book.baldmove.com if you want to see like samples of the art, because we got a superstar, Chase Stone, who did a lot of the art for The World of Ice and Fire, and he's a noted like Magic the Gathering artist, did a lot of really cool illustrations, including the cover for us. So I'm pretty excited about it. Check it out, book.baldmove.com, or pre-order it on Amazon by searching for Gods of Thrones Bald Move.
That's fantastic. That's cool. So when you started that book and now that you're finished, did it end up anywhere close to where you thought it would?
It's actually better. Like
Great.
Me and Anthony, when we met up, we had a bunch of conversations about how we thought this might work and what kind of voice we'd present it in. And, you know, I always felt really good about the core content, but when I see like what it's done with all the art and the typesetter, and after it's got done, like, you know, proofreading, copy edit, like I feel like it looks like a real book, and I think I'm very proud of it. And we're going to be doing, if you like Game of Thrones, we're going to be doing a series of podcasts on baldmove.com, both promoting the book, where it's just conversations with me and Anthony and Jim about the book and like the topics of religion in Westeros, and also another noted Game of Thrones dabbler into fiction, George R.R. Martin, releasing Fire and Blood, which is a history of the Targaryens, an in-universe history. In middle of November, we're going to be talking about that too with some guest hosts on our podcast. So if you are missing Game of Thrones and you can't wait 4 or 5 months for it to come back to HBO, check out baldmove.com because we're really ramping up our coverage of that.
Sweet. That's awesome. If you want to give us a call, you can call us at 650-485-DEAD. That's 650-485-3323. You can email us at brains@podcastica.com. You can find us on the web at facebook.com/deadcast. And all of our other shows are at podcastica.com. Next episode of this show is Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 4, The Obliged. We'll have Melissa Hutchison coming back to join us, who's Clementine of the Walking Dead games, Telltale's Walking Dead.
Speaking of tragic losses.
I know. Well, they're going to finish it out.
Oh, are they?
Yes. Skybound Games has taken it up. And they hired back some of the Telltale developers.
That's awesome because
Right.
I don't know if you knew this, but Jim and I did playthroughs of all of the Game of Thrones or all of the Telltale series, Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, and we call it like Bad Guy Lee, Bad Guy.
I saw that just because I was looking to see if you'd done any video game stuff.
Yeah, Bad Guy Clementine, and we always try to play it like the biggest asshole you can
Snarkiest.
possibly be.
That's awesome.
It's because you get to see a lot of dialogue branches you probably don't get to see in a normal playthrough, and it is a lot of fun. And we were looking forward to ending things with this final, and we were really disappointed. So I'm glad to hear it. We are going to we'll probably play through that early next year if they get it out.
Cool. Support for today's show comes from Fallout 76, Bethesda Game Studios, the award-winning creators of Skyrim and Fallout 4. Welcome you to Fallout 76, the online sequel where every surviving human is a real person. You can work together or not to survive. Fallout 76 will be available worldwide on Wednesday, November 14th. It's coming up soon. I'm totally going to play it. I'm excited. This will be my first Fallout game, and I'm stoked. So you can pre-order that game now at participating retailers, and you can play the beta first on Xbox One. Also, thanks to Away. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com.